Robots, AI, the future. Can you tell me which one of these images are real? AI is the future and is changing the game, causing issues around the world, and someone showed Donald Trump how to use it. So I figured maybe it could help me make an unstoppable team to beat Pokemon Pearl. My name is Schitty, and in this video I'm going to let AI choose my team. The rules are going to be AI is going to give me 6 random Pokemon and I have to use them. That also means no evolutions allowed, no items in battle, and I get to pull 1 random Pokemon out of the box after every gym badge. Other than that, the game is going to be completely normal. So here's me asking Big Daddy AI for my Pokemon.
Hey Shitty, I got you with the most goated team, my brother, don't even worry dog.
It could be worse, I guess. Just listen to the excitement in my voice when I receive that team. Anyways, let me go through each Pokemon and give you my thoughts. Number 1 is Bronzer. I'm going to choose him as my starter Pokemon. He's a typing of Steel and Psychic, and his defense and special defense stats are pretty good, especially for early in the game, and he'll be great into the defensive rock type gym leader. But unfortunately, that is all the nice things I have to say about this little guy. The rest of his stats are abysmal and will be pretty crappy in the latter parts of the game. Shinx is next up, and he as well will have a pretty bad stats considering he's only a first evolution, but there are some upsides. The electric type is really nice to have, especially for those pesky Gyarados, cough cough, Crash or Wake. On the topic of Crash or Wake, please never check the folder called Crash or Wake on my computer, asking for a friend. Anyways, back to Shinx. He is one of the best abilities in the game, if not the best ability, Intimidate, which will make Shinx useful even in the late game. Third, we have this lovable idiot Quagsire. Just look at that cute little guy, which is a final evolution finally. Very nice. Though his stats aren't the best, in particular he's pretty slow, but his typing is amazing with water and ground, having 2 immunities with the water absorbability. We just have to watch out for his 4 times weakness to grass. But, you know, later on, Stab Earthquake, always amazing. 8th leader is a electric type. Fourth, we have Chimecho. Chimecho is a solo psychic type, which is nice to have with pretty good special attack and defense stat, though pretty frail otherwise. He's not the greatest Pokemon, but Stab Psychic is always nice to have, and he's pretty interesting. I've never used one before, so I'm pretty excited for this guy. Fifth up is Dustox, and I'm not gonna lie, this guy is pretty shitty. Even though he's a final evolution, he's got an attack and special attack stat worse than Shinx, with a pretty crappy typing. At least he's got decent special defense stat with a healing move and learns Toxic down the line, so that's always useful when there's a Pokemon I'm stuck fighting that I don't know what else to do for. And sixth, we have Houndoom. He's a Dark and Fire type, definitely the heavy hitter. This is easily the backbone of the team and one of my personal favorite Pokemon. With a massive special attack and speed plus a psychic immunity, Houndoom is the only reason I might actually finish this challenge. He's also got a pretty good move pool, and he can learn a lot of helpful TMs like Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Nasty Plot, a great setup move for him. So he'll be really helpful as a setup sweeper, hopefully. So my stupid idiot rival, Ballsack, follows me to the lake in Route 1 where we get attacked by birds and I could steal my starter Pokemon from the old man and Don. Don't worry Don, I would never forget your name. Of course, we pick up the best Gen 4 starter, Bronzor, what a hero, and my rival goes for Turtwig. Then we kick his ass for the first time of many. Honestly, he might be one of the easiest rivals of any generation ever, even the newer games. Unfortunately, I lost the footage for this, but I promise it was an ass whooping. We then make our way to Sand Gem Town, where the old man officially gives us our Pokedex and Bronzor. We name him Zhlog. After adding Zhlog to the team, Don then shows us how to catch a Pokemon and runs into a wild Darkrai and catches it in 1 normal ball. Goddamn! By the way, I want you guys to know, I set the catching tutorial to a random Pokemon for the fun of it, so it surprised me too. We then kick Ballsack's ass again just outside of Jubilife City before making it to Orberg City, where we can challenge the first gym leader Rourke and her rock types. Now that we've made it to the first gym, I need to let you know that I'm going to be doing a level cap system where all of my Pokemon cannot be a higher level than the gym leader's ace, and this includes the Elite Four, although I might have accidentally over-leveled once or twice. Oops. Now Rourke's fight might seem simple, just spam a couple of confusions with Schlog, but keep in mind, she does have 3 Pokemon with a Cranidos to finish me off. And this guy has a monster attack stat for this early in the game, so I do have to be careful. Okay, it's time for the first gym. We start off with our lead, you guessed it, Schlog the Bronzor, and Rourke sends out Geodude. Schlog can take it out with 2 confusions while we take minimal damage. Next, Rourke sends out her scary Cranidos. So I go for Confuse Ray while she hits a Pursuit, not doing too much damage thanks to Schlog's bulky defense stat. Cranidos then hits himself in Confusion as I hit him with a soft Confusion. I'm having Confusion, saying Confusion so much, goddamn. Rourke uses a potion as Cranidos hits himself in Confusion again, and I keep laying on the Confusion attacks until Cranidos goes down. Then Onyx comes out and lowers my defense 4 stages before getting confused by my Confusion attacks and hitting himself while I can finish him off. Pretty lucky first gym, and I received my first gym badge. Okay, so after every gym badge, remember the rules. We get a random Pokemon from the PC. I'm just going to type in a random number generator, just 1 through 5, and whichever one it lands on, that's the Pokemon I'm going to get. So here's me getting my random Pokemon. Hot dog, we got Quagsire. He's got great stats for this early in the game, and he should be able to carry. I wonder who the next gym leader is. 4 times weakness to grass. So we give Quagsire the name Broski. Welcome to the team, Broski. So moving forward, we help Old Man and Dawn in a battle against Team Galactic, and I just want to say, Team Galactic is such a cool villain team. They are probably my favorite right after Team Plasma. They got a sweet vibe, and I love their stupid bowl haircuts. After beating the 2 grunts, we can make our way to Floroma Town, where we can stop Team Galactic from taking over the Valley Windworks building. After stealing the key, I can make my way inside and just stop. Listen to this music for a second. What a banger. I make my way up to the 2nd floor where we can fight the first Team Galactic mini-boss, Commander Mars, and her fat, stinky Purugly that gave me so much trouble as a kid. This thing's pretty strong this early in the game, just look at those stats. Going into the fight, I lead with Broski and Mars leads with Zubat, which kind of sucks because Broski only knows ground type moves, so I'm forced to swap into Schlog. I should have checked her team ahead of time, but it doesn't matter because Zubat uses Toxic, which has no effect on Schlog because of his steel typing. So I go unpunished. Zubat doesn't have much for Schlog, so a few confusions can knock her out without taking too much damage. Then Purugly switches in. I go for Hypnosis, which in this game for some reason has a 70% accuracy as opposed to the usual 60, which will make Schlog a little more handy. Anyways, the Hypnosis connects and I start going for Confusion as Purugly gets a 1-turn wake up and goes for Scratch, then hits a crit Pursuit. I keep going for Confusion until Bronzor gets weak and I swap into Broski to finish off the fat cat with some mud shots. After clearing up Team Galactic, we can make our way through Eterna Forest and some super slow double battles thanks to Cheryl and her Chansey that loves to spam healing moves. After making it through, we make it to Eterna City, and we meet Cynthia for the first time. She gives us cut, then we can make our way into the 2nd gym where we can challenge Gardenia and her grass types. This fight is going to be tough. Here's Gardenia's team. She is a level 19 Cherubi and a level 19 Turtwig. Not so bad, but they will still cause problems for Quagsire. Then her ace is a level 22 fully evolved Roserade holding a Citrus Berry. This will curb stop Quagsire in a second, so we will have to rely on Bronzor pretty heavily during this fight. The one advantage we have is Roserade's secondary typing of Poison, which will let Bronzor's psychic type attacks land for super effective damage. It just so happens that Bronzor learns Extrasensory right before the level cap, an 80 power psychic move, so we do have a chance here. Time for Gym 2, baby. We lead with Schlog, and Gardenia leads with Cherubi. Cherubi starts with a safeguard, which is kind of annoying, but then after it just goes for some greedy setup moves as we knock her out with some extra sensories, allowing Bronzor to go into the following Turtwig at full HP. Turtwig goes for some pretty weak grass knots and razor leaves as we knock it out with a few extra sensories, leaving us at just above half health as Roserade comes out. She starts with a crit magical leaf, bringing us to low HP, and we land a Confuse Ray. Roserade hits through confusion, bringing Zhlog into the red as we hit a pretty strong extra sensory. Then Roserade snaps out of confusion and finishes off Zhlog with one more magical leaf. So I bring in Broski, and she hits him with a poison sting for some reason, which poisons him. Then we hit a crit mud shot, bringing Roserade into the red, but on her final turn she uses magical leaf to knock out Broski in one hit. I guess she was just messing with him at the start. Gardenia delivers to us our first loss, which kinda sucks, yeah, but I mean, I thought this would be a tough one. It was pretty close though, so I think we could do it with a few more tries. Thankfully, the second attempt goes better, and Zhlog is able to knock out all 3 of Gardenia's Pokemon. Sorry for saying you're kinda crappy at the start of this video, you're the MVP, Zhlog. Since we've beaten Gardenia, we get our next Pokemon. This one, please be a good one, man. Come on. Oh baby, it's Dustox, just who I want to see. Alright, let's just keep her going. It's time to clear out the Galactic building, knock out some grunts, and hit the cycling road as we head towards Solacean Town. But first, you gotta see this battle. I got stuck in a standoff with a hiker's Bronzor, and it's easily the most annoying fight yet. My current team is a total mismatch. My ground moves can't touch it because of Levitate, and my psychic moves barely tickle it thanks to its typing. To make things worse, this thing used in prison, meaning my own Bronzor can't even use Hypnosis or Confuse Ray. I'm gonna crank the speed up to 500% so you can see this grueling battle I made it through. After we finally make it past that stupid hiker, I reach Solacean Town, but there isn't much to do, so I just push straight through to the next route, and of course I immediately ran into another Bronzor. Man, I'd give anything to see my sweet boy Houndoom right now, just to crunch through these things, but oh well, here's another 20-minute battle. Then we finally make it to Veilstone City. What a fucking magical place, you know? And that means it's time for the next gym. We get to fight Maylene and her fighting types. Oh boy. Maylene has a team of 3 Pokemon, a level 27 Metatite, a level 27 Machoke, and a level 30 Lucario. The Lucario I'm a little worried for because our flying and psychic type moves are now neutral, but the good news is that Broski's ground type attacks are super effective. So I've come up with a very complex strategy to beat her. Let me show you. No, you're going too far. Okay, let's get into this gym fight. Maylene leads with Metatite and I lead with Dog the Dustox. She hits me with a weak Drain Punch as I smack her with a decent Psybeam. This back and forth continues and I'm able to get in a cheeky Moonlight to bring Dog back to full HP right before finishing off Metatite, allowing Dog to be at full HP when Maylene brings in Machoke. I hit Machoke with a Psybeam as he comes in, and he hits Dog with a Leer, bringing his defense down a level. Machoke takes another Psybeam, bringing him into the red, as he hits me with a Foresight for some reason, but he really had to identify Dog. So Maylene uses her last Hyper Potion as I hit Machoke with another Psybeam that confuses. Another Psybeam brings Machoke into the red, as he hits Dog with a soft Brick Break. I go for a Moonlight as Machoke hits himself in confusion, then I can finish him off as once again Dog goes into the next Pokemon at full HP. So Maylene brings in Lucario, who rips Dog into the yellow with a Metal Claw. I land a weak Psybeam. Lucario finishes off Dog with a Bone Rush. Haha, he finished him off with a Bone Rush. Haha, get it? Haha. I bring in Broski and Lucario hits him with a weak Metal Claw, but Lucario gets the attack boost. A Mud Shot brings Lucario into the yellow, lowering his speed and activating his Citrus Berry. A Force Palm brings Broski into the yellow, and one more Mud Shot crits, killing Lucario and winning us the badge. Honestly, the MVP here though was Dog the Dustox, man. Good work. We beat Maylene and we get the third badge. Now that we have the third gym badge, it's time for my next Pokemon. And currently, as much as I want Houndoom, right now we really need Shinx, because the next gym leader is the ever so tough Crasher Wake and his water types. Phew, thank God. Lucky me, we got Shinx. We are gonna need this little guy. Shinx gets the name Bro. Now we can make our way down to Pastoria City, where I can prep myself mentally and physically for Crasher Wake, if you know what I mean. Crasher Wake has 3 Pokemon. His lead Gyarados is very strong with great stats and the Intimidate ability. He has his own Quagsire that's immune to electric type attacks, and his ace Floatzel is very strong and fast with a wide range of coverage moves, making his whole team one of the toughest battles in Pearl. So let's get straight into this battle. Crasher Wake sends out his Gyarados and I start with Bro the Shinx. We both lower each other's attacks with Intimidate. Gyarados starts with a Bite, leaving Shinx just above half health. I hit Gyarados with a Spark, bringing Gyarados into the yellow and almost the red. I went for a second Spark, but Crasher Wake swapped out into his Quagsire, causing my Spark to do no damage. So I swapped a Dog, and Quagsire misses a Mud Bomb. I set up Light Screen as Quagsire hits a weak Slam. I go for a weak Psybeam, and Quagsire hits me with a second Slam. I heal myself to full with Moonlight, and Quagsire goes for a Mud Sport, which is a little annoying. We keep trading Psybeams and Mud Bombs, and I keep myself healthy with Moonlight. Eventually, I swap in Log to finish Quagsire with an extra Sensory. Crasher Wake goes back into Gyarados and then uses a Super Potion as I confuse him. Then Gyarados bites and I put him to sleep, swapping back to Bro to finish off Gyarados with a Spark. Then I swap back to Zog as Floatzel comes in. I get a Light Screen up and Floatzel takes down Zog with some Ice Fangs. I go back into Shinx to get an Intimidate in. Floatzel hits Bro with a Swift, bringing him into the yellow and activating my Oran Berry. Then I hit Floatzel with a strong Spark, forces his Citrus. We trade one more Spark and Swift, finishing off Floatzel and securing our win against Crasher Wake. That's the 4th badge in the bag, halfway down the gym badges. Let's keep this rolling. Alright, now it's time to get the next Pokemon. We only have 2 left, Houndoom and Chimecho. I would love Houndoom, but Chimecho would be cool too. Here's the random number generator. Yes, finally it's Houndoom time. This will make it faster to breeze through the Pokemon battles. Let's go. After pestering this scheming grunt, we start to chase him, but then Ballsack stops us for a rival battle. I'm not going to go in depth in this battle, it's super easy, and I don't get why he still has an unevolved Starly, Weasel, and Ponyta at this stage of the game, so we just whoop his butt. Now we can continue chasing down the grunt and whoop his butt. Then Cynthia gives us a secret potion to clear the Psyducks, so we go and do that. But Cynthia is there again and asks us to deliver an old charm to her grandma in Celestia Town. Like, damn Cynthia, can't you do these chores yourself? You could have at least cleared the Psyducks. You're here already anyways. We make our way through the foggy path, which is a very scary place. Lots of strong trainers with fog lowering accuracy. Too bad I'm too lazy to get defog. Then we deliver the old charm to Cynthia, Gilf Grandma. And we don't fight Cyrus in the cave because this isn't Platinum. But we do get the HM for Surf, so we can finally give Broski a water type move. Nice. And now it's time to head to Hearthome City to fight Fantina. Fantina's team is pretty strong and annoying, having Confuse Ray on 2 Mons and Minimize, like most Ghost teams. She has a level 32 Drifblim, a level 34 Gengar, and a level 36 Mismagius. Since we do have a Houndoom now and Crunch on Shinx, this battle shouldn't be too bad. Alright, let's get right into this battle. Fantina leads off with Drifblim and I send in Bro the Shinx. Drifblim hits me with an Astonish and I miss a Thunderfang. 5% miss chance by the way, rough start. Drifblim hits Bro with a Gust, bringing him just above half health, and I hit a strong Thunderfang, bringing Drifblim into the low yellows. Drifblim sets up a Minimize, but thankfully I connect with my Thunderfang to knock out Drifblim, and I take a bit of damage from the aftermath. Fantina sends out Mismagius, so I swap the Houndoom. Mismagius hits me with a pretty strong Shadow Ball, considering it's resisted, but I counter with a Bite that brings her into the low yellow, activating her Citrus Berry. Another Shadow Ball brings me into the yellow as I finish her with another Bite. Man, I'm rocking with this boss music, it's fantastic. In comes Gengar, so I swap in Zlog, who gets hit by a Confuse Ray, then hits himself. Gengar uses Spite for some reason, which fails, and I hit with a Gyro Ball that does decent damage, but I thought it would do more since it does more damage depending on the speed difference between Yermon and the enemy, and Zhlog is hella slow. Gengar uses Spite again for some reason, not that I'm complaining, and Zhlog hits through Confusion with an extra sensory to blast Gengar down to the yellow. Gengar uses Spite again, letting Zhlog finish him off for the win. That battle gets 5 big booms for the 5th gym badge. Wow, what a killer script line, right? Someone will probably scout me for Hollywood after that one. Now, since the gym battle's over, we get to pick up one last super friend for our team. Since there's only one left, no random generator is needed, so Dude the Chimecho joins the squad. Since we can use Surf outside of battle, it's time to head to Route 218 where we can surf to Canalave City. And then we run into, you guessed it, Ballsack for another rival fight. Ballsack leads with Staravia and I leave with Bro the Shanks. I hit a Thunderfang as he goes for a double team, and after some shenanigans with double team, I can finish off Staravia with a crunch. Ballsack sends in Ponyta, so I swap to Broski, who can one-shot with a Surf. Ballsack pivots to Grottle, and I go to Houndoom, who can one-shot with a Fire Blast. Also, the Fire Blast animation is iconic. It looks so good in this gen, one of my favorites for sure. Ballsack goes to Buizel, and I swap to Dude for his first battle. Come on Dude, start off strong. Dude hits a Confusion, bringing Buizel into the yellow, as he hits a Swift, leaving Dude just above half health. Then, Dude can finish off Buizel with another Confusion. Ballsack goes into Heracross, so I stay with Dude. A Brick Break brings Dude down to 36 HP, and a strong Confusion brings Heracross into the yellow. An Aerial Ace fails to finish off Dude, so one more Confusion seals the battle. Good job, Dude. Yet another pretty simple battle from Ballsack. Next up is the 6th badge at the Steel-type gym versus leader Byron. Byron's team doesn't really scare me at this point because he has a level 36 Bronzer, a level 36 Steelix, and a level 39 Bastiodon. Between Broski and Compadre with their water, fire, and ground type attacks, this battle should be a cakewalk. Let's just get into this battle. Byron sends out Bronzer and I send out Compadre the Houndoom. Bronzer goes down to 1 Fire Blast, then Byron sends in Steelix, who meets the same fate. Bastiodon comes in, so I swap to Broski. I go for a 4-time super effective Earthquake, but Bastiodon survives thanks to his monster defense stat. And he goes for an Ancient Power and heals the next turn, but a high roll on Earthquake is able to finish him off. Phew, tough gym battle. Barely made it through that one, but we got our 6th badge. Let's keep going. Ballsack asks us to come to the library because there's a problem, so I of course skip that and go straight to the Pokemon Center. But don't worry, I come to see what the trouble is after that. Old Man tells us something about legendary Pokemon or something. He then asks us to check out the 3 Great Lakes, but some rumbles go off during the conversation, so we gotta go see what's going on. I go to Valor Lake that's been blown to smithereens, but luckily someone put these handy stairs here. Then I can beat up Commander Saturn, which goes very smoothly. Then I go and save Dawn at Verity Lake. Don't worry, I got you, Dawn. I beat up Commander Mars and her Perugly again. Now we can go save Ballsack at the last lake near Snow Point. You know he's gonna mess it up. So I make my way through the deep snow to Snow Point City, but before we can help Ballsack, I need to beat the 7th gym to unlock the use of Rock Climb. Heading into Candace's Ice-type gym, her team consists of 4 Pokemon, a level 38 Snover, a level 38 Sneasel, a level 40 Medicham for some reason, not really on the Ice-type theme, and gets replaced in Platinum for a Frostlass with the Snow Cloak ability, which would be a lot more scary. And her ace, a level 42 Obama Snow, who is thankfully 4 times weak to fire type attacks. Alright, Gym 7 time baby, let's do it. Candace leads with Snover, who sets up the hail, and I lead with Compadre, who can take down Snover with 1 hit from Fire Fang. In comes Medicham, so I do a quick swap to Dude. An Ice Punch brings Dude to just above half, and Dude lands a Yawn. Unfortunately, the hail brings Dude down to the yellow. A Force Palm fails to finish Dude, so he can get a soft infusion, and Medicham falls asleep. Another confusion brings Medicham into the red, as she stays asleep. Candace uses a Hyper Potion, bringing Medicham back to full, and Dude is 1 turn of hail away from fainting. I go for confusion again, but Candace pulls the rare swap into Sneasel, so confusion does nothing. Dude faints to hail. I swap to Compadre. Sneasel lands a pretty strong pursuit before getting O-code by Fire Fang. Medicham comes back in, so I go to Zhlog. He hasn't seen battle in a while. Zhlog lands a Confuse Ray, Medicham hits herself in confusion, and an extra sensory brings her down to the red. A full restore brings Medicham back to full and gets rid of confusion. Another extra sensory doesn't hit too hard and Medicham goes for bulk up. So I go for a Hypnosis, which hits, and then a Confuse Ray, which also hits. Then I keep going for extrasensory until Metacham finally faints. Obama Snow comes in, so I swap to Compadre, who misses a Fire Blast, then barely survives a Wood Hammer before one-shotting Obama Snow with one more Fire Blast and beating Candace, securing the 7th badge. That was a long battle. Alright gang, just one more badge to go before the Elite Four, but now let's go help that Ballsack guy. We make our way up to Lake Acuity, where Ballsack is sitting there crying in utter defeat after getting his ass whooped, which means it's time for us to fly to Veilstone City to invade the Team Galactic hideout. After easily breezing through that place, it's time for the classic Pokemon stop the bad guy at the top of the mountain from controlling the box art legendary. I start making my way up the mountain, so let me tell you all about the fights we have coming up. These fights are actually going to be pretty tough. First, we have a double battle against Commanders Mars and Jupiter with Ballsack, and all I can say for now is that Ballsack's AI can be unpredictable. Then, we have a final battle with Cyrus and his team. It's pretty strong and intimidating, so just take a peek at it. Especially against our special ed classroom of a team. And not to mention, we can't bring our full team of 6 because we need an HM on, so I have to leave Dog the Dustox behind. Okay, so finally making up the mountain, Cyrus summons Palkia, then Ballsack runs in to help us with the double battle. The problem is, whoever we lead with also has to be the lead into Cyrus, so I need to be careful. I lead with Broski and Ballsack leads with Munchlax. The problem with that is that Ballsack loves to spam the swallow spit up stockpile moves, which doesn't do much to help me, and Munchlax doesn't have any offensive options in this fight, so he just keeps himself alive without doing much, and to be frank, I lost this battle, but not only once, I lost it a few times. Eventually I make a good run. I lead with Broski by accident, oops, but swap to Compadre where I can easily knock out one lead bronzer with Fire Blast. I found that focusing one side down first was optimal, so I send another Fire Blast into the Perugly that swaps in, while Ballsack, of course, does nothing. And we get a lucky burn, which is huge because it halves her physical damage. Eventually I knock out Perugly, then the following Golbat, while Ballsack continues to do nothing. Compadre and Munchlax go down, so with a swap to Dude and Ponyta, we can take down the other Bronzor. Skuntank comes in and takes down Dude and Ponyta. Broski and Weasel finish off Skuntank. Then Golbat comes in and we can't do much. Also, I found out the hard way that it has a Mega Drain, so Broski gets decimated. Wow, this battle is all of a sudden getting kind of bad. I swap to Shinx, and Ballsack, of course, sends an Aqua Jet straight into Shinx, with revenge in his heart of all the things I've said about him, trying to ruin this run with all of his evil hatred. He then throws a nothing Brick Break into the Golbat as Shinx goes down. Uh-oh, I'm running out of Pokemon. Ballsack, you bastard. Thankfully, Zhlog can finish the job and brings us into our fight with Cyrus. Cyrus leads with Honchkrow and I lead with Broski. Honchkrow goes for an embargo, which doesn't really matter, and I miss a Rock Slide. Oh no, bad start. A Drill Peck leaves Broski just above half and another Rock Slide brings Honchkrow down to the yellow. Cyrus uses a Super Potion and another Rock Slide brings Honchkrow back into the yellow. Drill Peck takes Broski down to the red and a Rock Slide finishes off Honchkrow. Cyrus brings in Gyarados and I swap to Dude, who I taught Shockwave to. Gyarados hits a strong Giga Impact, which I barely survive, and a Shockwave brings Gyarados into the yellow. Since Gyarados now needs a turn of recovery, another Shockwave finishes him off. Cyrus goes into Weavile and I go to Compadre. Compadre gets hit by an X-Scissor that gets him below half, and then misses a crucial Fire Blast that probably would have knocked out Weavile. To play around this, I swap to Dude for the sack, then swap into Zhlog to try to land a Hypnosis and Confuse Ray. Zhlog takes a strong Night Slash, then missed his Hypnosis. Man, I'm getting unlucky. But thankfully, Weavile goes for X-Scissor the next turn, letting Zhlog live another attack and land a Confuse Ray. Weavile hits herself in confusion, finally some luck, and Zhlog can put her to sleep. I can now swap back to Compadre, who thankfully hits his Fire Blast this time, taking out Weavile. One more Mon left, which is Crobat, but my team is in a rough condition. I swap to Shinx for the Intimidate before swapping to Zhlog for a sack, then swapping back to Shinx for another Intimidate drop, then repeating that process with a sack swap to Broski. I didn't know if this was going to pay off since Air Slash was special, but I was running out of options. I swap back to Shinx, who gets hit by Confuse Ray, thankfully hitting through with a Thunder Fang that leaves Crobat above half health. Then Crobat goes for a bite, so the Intimidates did pay off. And Shinx hits another Thunder Fang, bringing Crobat down to the red. Cyrus uses a full restore and Shinx hits another Thunder Fang, and Crobat hits a pretty strong cross poison, bringing Shinx low and poisoning him. Another Thunder Fang puts Crobat in the red before he can finish off Shinx. I swap into Compadre, my last Pokemon, and for some reason Cyrus throws the battle and goes for Bite, so Compadre can finish the battle and get us the win. Whatever, I'll take it. What a stressful 2 battles. Now we can stop Palkia and finally make our way to the 8th badge. After climbing down the mountain, we can start making our way to the final town, Sunny Shore City, to challenge the 8th and final gym. This gym leader is Volkner and his gym is electric typing. Again, he's a lot more scary in Platinum, but here's his team. It consists of 4 Pokemon, a level 46 Raichu, a level 47 Ambipom with the Technician ability, a level 47 Octillery, and his ace, a level 49 Luxray. Though his team can be a little scary due to its team's coverage, I'm not too worried about this one. With Broski and his ground typing, plus the depth of our team now, this shouldn't be too bad. So let's just get straight into this battle. Mr. Volkner leads with Raichu, and I lead with Broski the Quagsire. Raichu lands a soft Brick Break, followed up by a 1-tap from Earthquake from the menace himself, Broski. Octillery comes in, and I swap to Dude. Dude hits a Psychic, leaving Octillery in the yellow, and the Octopus goes for a soft Charge Beam. One more Psychic and finish off Mr. Squidward. In comes Ambipom, so I swap to Compadre. For whatever reason, Ambipom goes straight into a Baton Pass to Luxray, eating the Flamethrower, leaving him above half health, so a Fire Blast can finish him off. Way to sacrifice your teammate there, Ambipom. Speaking of the monkey, he swaps back in, hitting a Shockwave before getting taken down by 2 Flamethrowers. Well, that was easier than I thought it would be. That means we finally get the last gym badge and can start preparing for the Elite Four. Now we could surf towards Victory Road, but first, we pass Jasmine on the way. Hey, what's up? Anyways, after we arrive, we can battle some trainers and slowly make our way to the Elite Four, collecting some useful TMs and items along the way, like Dark Pulse for Compadre. And now, it's time for the Elite Four. Oh wait, of course, Sir Ballsack is here for his final chance, where we continue to beat him one last time. Anyways, where was I? Oh right, time for the Elite Four. Each of the 4 will be a challenge. The first leader, my favorite, is Aaron, because he's a bug type trainer, which is nice to see. Some justice for Catcher Billy finally. Anyways, he shouldn't be too much of a problem since, well, you know, Compadre's here. Then there's Bertha and her ground types. We don't have any particular strength into her besides Quagsire, but she has 2 water types of her own, so it might be a challenge. Following Bertha, we have Flint, the fire type trainer. I have a problem with this guy, this so-and-so fire type trainer. I mean, just look at his team. A majority of his team isn't even fire type. Like, Steelix, yeah, I guess, still kind of related to fire, and Drifblim, yeah, he could fan the flames. But Lopunny? What does she have to do with fire? Is it the passion he feels when he's around her? I know what kind of guy you are, Flint. It's okay, Flint. Me too, man. Me too. The final Elite Four member is Lucian and his Psychic types. Yeah, he's pretty scary. I mean, look at his team, but, you know, my favorite boy Compadre's here, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then finally, one of the scariest champions of all time, if not the scariest champion, we have, you all know her, Cynthia. Her team is diverse and strong, and with that ever so terrifying Garchomp, I mean, just look at those stats. I don't know if my special boys can beat this team, but I guess it's time to find out. Alright, first battle, let's do it. Bring it on, Aaron. He leads with a Dustox of his own, and I lead with the man Compadre. But this doesn't last long because Compadre can one-shot Dustox with the Flamethrower. Aaron switches to Heracross, so I go to Dude, probably where he can be most useful this fight. Heracross luckily misses a Stone Edge, and I hit a Psychic. That brings him into the red. Aaron uses a full restore, so I can Psychic again. Then, get this, he misses a Mega Horn, so I can finish him off, still at full HP. Lucky me. Aaron brings in his Beautifly, so I swap back to Compadre and go for a Flamethrower, which one-shots again. Good fire, hell dog. In comes Vespiquen, so I go for, you guessed it, Flamethrower again, leaving her in the red. A Power Gem leaves me at just above half health, while Aaron uses another full restore. So rinse and repeat the Flamethrower until Vespiquen goes down. Now Drapion is coming in, so I go to Broski. A Cross Poison doesn't do much, and an Earthquake brings Drapion into the yellow, activating his Citrus. Another Cross Poison poisons Broski, while another Earthquake leaves Drapion in the red. A desperate Aerial Ace fails to kill, so we can finish off Drapion and win our first Elite Four battle. Hooray! Now it's time to move on to Bertha. Bertha leads off with Broski's evil twin, and I go with Dude, who I taught a very handy grass knot to. Quagsire protects against my grass knot, so next turn I just go for it again. Thanks to the 4 times effectiveness, this one-shots. Bertha brings in Sudowoodo, and I go to Zlog. Sudowoodo hits a pretty strong hammer arm, but leaves me at above half and lowers his speed. Schlag hits a Confuse Ray, then a Hypnosis, lucky. Then I make the swap to Compadre and start smacking him with Dark Pulse until he goes down. Next up is Golem, so I swap back to Schlag, who tanks a Gyro Ball, no problem, then hits another Hypnosis, Confuse Ray combo. Good job, little guy. Golem wakes up and hits himself in confusion, and I start laying on the extrasensory. Golem keeps going for Gyro Ball, which doesn't do much, as I try to put him back to sleep. Finally, Golem finds the Earthquake button, and unfortunately I don't have Levitate, so Schlag goes down. Dude comes back in and can finish the job with the Grass Knot. Bertha swaps the Hippowdon. I'm pretty scared of this guy, and I go to Dog. I start with a Toxic while Hippowdon starts setting up with Curse. Oh no. A Bug Buzz does a little chip damage, and an EQ takes down Dog. I swap to Bro for the Intimidate, drop, and crunch the Fat Hippo while it continues to set up, and recover with a Citrus. Another crunch lands before getting taken down by an EQ. In comes Broski, who can finally finish off Gloria here with a Surf. I was trying to be careful to keep Hippowdon out of healing range. Next comes in Wishcash, who flinches Broski with a Soft Zen Headbutt. He tries a Rock Slide, which doesn't do too much, and I hit an Earthquake that brings him into the yellow. One more Earthquake can finish the job, and we finally move on to our next Elite Four member, Flint the Weirdo. Flint leads with his Rapidash, and I start with Broski. A Flare Blitz hits for about a third, while Earthquake can one-shot. Flint switches in his Scary Monkey Infernate, so I swap to Bro for the ever so useful Intimidate drop. I swap to Dude to tank a Mach Punch, then swap back to Bro for another Intimidate drop. I know this is kinda cheesy, but the monkey scares me. He lands a crit Thunder Punch, bringing me into the red. Unfortunate, so I swap to Compadre hoping for a Fire-type move, but he goes for a pretty strong Mach Punch instead. I swap for one more Intimidate drop before Shinx goes down, and I can bring in Dude to start doing some damage. He gets hit by a Thunder Punch, which paralyzes, and Dude hits a strong Psychic, bringing him into the red. Another Thunder Punch doesn't do much, as Dude finishes off Flint's ace with another Psychic. In comes Drifblim, so I go to Compadre. He can hit a Dark Pulse that brings Drifblim into the yellow, and for some reason, he Baton passes to Steelix, who can munch on one of Houndoom's Flamethrowers, which kills. Uh-oh, the Goober swaps in his Lopunny, so I go to Dog. A Charm lowers Dog's attack, and he lands a Toxic. Fire Punch brings Dog into the yellow, as he hits a weak Silver Wind. Moonlight heals to almost full, which makes Lopunny's Mirror Coat fail. Another Silver Wind hits decently hard, and I get the boost, but get hit by a Mirror Coat this time. Flint goes for his full restore. The battle pretty much continues like this for a while, so I'm just going to skip until Lopunny goes down. In which Drifblim comes back in, so Compadre can finish the job, winning the battle and taking us to the last Elite Four member. Alright, time to take on Lucian and his Psychic types. Mr. Mime comes in, and I start with Compadre, who can start with a Nasty Plot, while Mr. Mime goes for Reflect. Dark Pulse can one-shot, so Medicham comes in. A Fire Blast takes him down in one shot. Lucian swaps to Bronzong, who, gets one-shot by Flamethrower. Alright, so here comes Alakazam, who misses Focus Blast. Phew, that would have been bad. And he gets one-shot by Dark Pulse. Girafarig comes in last, and he gets one-shot by Dark Pulse. Nice clean sweep for the big carry Compadre. That was easy, but this next one won't be. It's time for the final battle against Cynthia. I'm quivering in my boots, but let's get into this. She leads with Spiritomb, and I go with Compadre. Spiritomb doesn't have much for me, so I can set up a Nasty Plot. Silver Wind doesn't do much, so I go for another Nasty Plot. Embargo isn't really good for her here, because it just gives me another turn to set up, but I'll take it. And then one more turn of setup gets me to +6, and all I have to do is tank another Silver Wind. So I can one-shot with Flamethrower. Cynthia sends in Gastrodon, who gets one-shot by a Dark Pulse. So then in comes Milotic. Crazy cool sprite, by the way, but somehow she lives in the red, and for some reason she just goes for an Aqua Ring. Well, that's lucky. And then a full restore brings Milotic back to full. So another Dark Pulse can bring her into the red one more time and can finish her. In comes in the Menace himself, Garchomp, who can take down Compadre with a Brick Break. Good work though, buddy. I swap in Bro for the Intimidate drop, then swap to Dude, who doesn't get damaged from Garchomp's Earthquake thanks to Levitate. So I swap back to Bro for another Intimidate drop. He takes a Giga Impact and does not survive. Fair enough. So in comes Broski. Broski can hit an Ice Beam while Garchomp recharges, which crits. Wow, lucky. And Garchomp goes down. Cynthia brings in Roserade, so I go to Dude. A Sludge Bomb from Roserade brings Dude down to the yellow and poisons him. A strong Psychic brings Roserade down to the red. Cynthia uses her second full restore, so another Psychic brings Roserade back down to the red. Another Energy Ball finishes off Dude, so I can go into Zhlog. It's his time to shine, right buddy? That's called foreshadowing. But anyway, a Shadow Ball leaves him above half and he can finish off Roserade. Cynthia brings in her final Pokemon, and the final Pokemon we have to take down, Lucario. I don't know why he has this or why he's going for it now, but a weak Psychic leaves Zhlog above half health. Zhlog misses his Hypnosis, Lucario goes for another Psychic, which brings Zhlog into the yellow, so his Citrus Berry activates. Zhlog continues to miss another Hypnosis. Another weird move comes out from Lucario, a Dragon Pulse, which doesn't do too much. You know, I did not think there'd be this long defensive battle in the battle with Cynthia, but you know, here we are. So Zhlog misses another Hypnosis, and Lucario goes for another weak Dragon Pulse, and he finally hits not a Hypnosis, but a Confuse Ray. Good job, I guess, little guy. Lucario hits himself in confusion, and Zhlog misses another Hypnosis. I'm just using Hypnosis for the love of the game now. Lucario brings Zhlog down into the red with another Psychic, and guess what? He did it. He landed Hypnosis. So I make my swap to Broski, who can finish off Lucario with an Earthquake. And we did it. We beat Cynthia and all of Pokemon Pearl with an AI given team. Just look at these cutie patooties. Compadre the Houndoom, you know, maybe I should have named him Dog. Dude the Chimecho, Zhlog the Hypnosis Master Bronzor, Broski the Quagsire, Dog the Dustox, and Bro the Shinx. Thank you so much for watching, and if you made it this far somehow, please subscribe. Thank you so much. See you later. And Bro the Shinx. Thank you so much for watching, and if you somehow made it this far, please subscribe. Thank you. See you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and if you somehow made it this far, subscribe for me. Thanks. See ya.